Now we are.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
We are good.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thanks to all council members and committee members. I suspect we might have a few people coming in late. Can we start with the agenda? Approval of the agenda that Ms. Page so kindly sent out earlier this week.
With the amendment for Dave's update, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So we would like to add to either 8.5 or change out 8.4 items for next meeting and to change that to 8.5, but we'd like to add Millbrook
MTB.
Millbrook MTB. Thank you. Discussion. All in favor of adding that to the agenda?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Motion carried.
Just for confirmation, Chair Jackson, was your seconder John Fallis on that, or Matthew Graham? Who's your seconder on that?
John Fallis.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, let's start with the minutes of the meeting held October 25th, our last meeting. Does anybody have any comments about those minutes? Any edits, edits or additions? No? Okay, can I get an approver to?
Sorry, just
Matt?
a comment. I just had a comment, Rob. I believe there was a discussion about facilitating a meeting of some individuals to have a conversation about the works done and the potential works to be done in the short term. We were going to make a sort of a list together. I just wanted to follow up with Cindy if she wanted me to facilitate that. We talked about doing that between now and the next meeting in January. Is that a meeting you'd like me to coordinate privately to facilitate, or is that something that you were going to facilitate?
Is this about adding the additional trails maintenance to the work plan? Is that what you're talking about?
I think that's not the words I'd use, but I think that's right. Yeah, and it is reflected in the minutes. So a discussion about the short and long term, the short and mid-term planning as to what's being done and the priorities by which the works are going to be done with regards to the trails.
So staff can reach out to coordinate that meeting with you, and we can do so at the conclusion of this week. We'll touch base with you.
No, I just didn't want that to be a responsibility I didn't fulfill. Sorry.
No, I thought Miss Els had reached out. I do apologize. That was part of our little chit chat. So,
okay.
And then we were going to coordinate a meeting right here.
Correct.
We can talk with the whole group about, so there'd be yourself, John Frizzle, and Chair Jackson to work on that.
Correct.
And we were going to have it prepared for the January meeting. Okay, perfect.
Correct. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Any other comments on the minutes?
I'll move their adoption, Mr. Chairman. That's
Okay.
John Fallis.
Can I have a seconder for that?
I'll second.
John Frizzle, thank you. All in favor? Excellent. Okay, thank you. Moving on to 7.1, financial report. Ms. Alls.
I will take that, Chairman Jackson.
All right.
We will comment that I'll probably be doing it for the next couple months until we make some further changes here. But right now, I only have two in front of me that have gone through on November the 3rd, which is Merit Home Hardware. I don't know of anything that's outstanding. One account was for 139.39, and the other one was for 86.62. But I don't have anything else besides that. So if I am missing some invoicing that is coming in, we'd like to try to get all of that in before the end of the year, Chairman Jackson, if possible.
Yes, so those two expenses relate to the workday that we held in October.
Yep.
And I have a small bill from the dollar store for new poop and scoop bags. And then we will have an invoice. You should have received an invoice from Sinorama.
Okay, I don't have that yet, but it might be coming, or it
Okay.
might be already in the finance department. I can certainly check that.
Okay, that's right. It was for the limit, I think, which was $125 or something that we had discussed for the trail closed signs.
Okay,
I've been out of the country just back this weekend, but I'm planning to pick those up tomorrow. So I will check then as well if they have sent the invoice, or if not, I can certainly grab it and
Okay.
send it with the rest of mine. And then we'll have before the end of the year, we'll have an additional invoice for the pamphlets, for the brochures
oh, yes, okay,
from Vista Print. But that's all that I'm aware of from my side.
okay. So this receivable, this printout is from November the 19th. So that's the latest I have as of right now, but that's fine. If you can try to get them in before the end of the year, that would be super.
Yeah, I will do for sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions around the financial report? No. Okay. Orca, Ms. Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have a lot to report, but just wanted to remind everyone that our tree sales program will open up again in January. So you can start thinking about any trees that you may want to order and put a note in your calendar. I'll let you know, I'll remind you at the January meeting that the orders are open. Yvette asked me earlier whether or not we were back in the office and if our office was open to the public. So I thought I'd just let everyone know that, no, we are still working remotely. We anticipate probably January is when we'll be back in the office. But what we have done is we just installed a new voice over internet system. So you can actually call through to people's extensions and you'll get them directly now instead of getting their voicemail and then a call back. So that's a great new system that we're all really enjoying. So if you did have the need to get in touch with any of our staff, then that's quite easy to do. And I think that is about it for now. We do not have a flood warning in effect right now, so that is good. We are happy. Yeah, just getting prepared for winter. Does anyone have any questions for me? Oh, actually, you know what? Something just came through my email and I wanted to let you know, we will be launching a fundraising campaign actually for the Jackson Creek Trail in Peterborough. So you'll start to see social media about that next week. It'll be launching on Giving Tuesday. So, and that's to help fund some upgrades to the Jackson Creek Trail in the city of Peterborough. And then if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. I had a quick question. The tree that was planted in Meds Park to replace the ash tree that was killed, there was a watering bag put around it. That watering bag's still there. I'm just wondering if that's going to inhibit it during the winter.
I think it'll be okay, but let me double check on that, because actually that was a question I had for the nursery. Obviously don't fill it because you don't want all that water freezing right now. Yeah, it might be a good thing to bring it in, but let me check and I'll, can I respond to you directly?
Sure.
When I get a response? Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Okay, any other questions for Meredith? No? Okay, great. Let's move on to trail report. So it was myself and John Frizzle. John, do you want to start?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if you want to share it on the screen, Cindy. Is that possible? Or I can, I guess, if you want me to.
I sure can. Just give me 1 second here.
Thank you.
I can provide my update on meds and the trails I walked after you, John.
Sure.
Can everyone see
so-
that okay? Oh, perfect.
Yeah, maybe we can start with the map and just point out the areas, then I can go back. That'd be great. Thanks, Cindy. So yeah, basically everything is pretty great shape. I didn't get over to meds, so I'm glad that you did, Rob, but everything else is pretty great shape, except for 3 kind of areas that I would say are ongoing, and they're actually on the work project, Matthew. I think some of them have been pointed out there, but there may be one that isn't. So basically the 3 are, number 1 is the section that goes from Baxter Creek Trail from Zion Line north up to the first kind of bench. Always very muddy, and we really need to come up with some solutions for that. The second is another very muddy section on Baxter Creek Trail, again, Grand Trunk pathway that is before you go from the Zion Ponds to over towards the railway tunnel. And the third one, second is the boards on Baxter Creek, and the third one is the one that I just mentioned on the Grand Trunk pathway by the railway tunnel. So 2 sections of mud and 1 section of loose boards and broken board that needs some repairs in there. Did you get and there's a 4th one too. I know it's on the bottom. This is an old map. It's not on there. But as the Dial detour, I think that could benefit from a little bit of TLC as well too. So if you scroll up to the wording, just a couple of recommendations on it. Under the little bit further down under the recommendations, that'd be great. Right there. So recommendations, I would say, is about 2,800 feet of 2x6 cedar. I had somebody who's got some very good carpentry skills come out and kind of approximate it out, Rob, but they did contact Hope Mill. I think they figured out their quote on that much lumber, if we would need that in addition to what is already coming through supplies, would be around the $4,500 mark. And then 1 load of gravel to spread down the middle of the Dial detour, just to basically get a walking path through there, and maybe little hand tools to create a little bit of drainage off to the side so it doesn't pool up, from previous in the past, previous vehicle traffic, especially trucks or things like that. They've really gouged it out. So just something simply down the middle, just to create a nice walking path and keep everybody out of the mud would be great as well. So that's kind of what I've seen as challenge areas and some things we need to make sure that if they're not on that work plan, that we add them there and keep them in our mind.
Okay, I read that with some interest. So 2,800 feet is a lot. I mean, that's the calculations I did on that is that's 5,600 boards, which is, our usual order is 110. So that's about 51 years worth of orders in one shot. So that's with the normal boardwalk. If we turn it around to do duck board, which I don't really like, it's still 1,100 pieces of lumber and a lot of stuff to maintain. So I mean, I think we need to look at sort of other alternatives for that.
Yeah, I don't know about rerouting. We've looked at that, but it doesn't seem any better either way. I just think you're just going to constantly get worse and worse. You're right. It is a lot. It really is. But when you put the runners down and then you put the crossboards across, there's a large section there that's muck basically up to your shin this time of year, and obviously in the spring, summer, it all dries out and it's fine. But something we have to come up with a solution. If not that, come up with something else.
Yes. Anybody else have any comments on that? I just see it as that's the catch-22 with all this stuff, right? The more boardwalk we put down, the more we maintain. I mean, putting down 2,800 feet of boardwalk is no small feat in itself, but what about?
So it's not 2,800 feet of boardwalk, just so you know, Rob. That's just the amount of wood you need, because you need 2 stringers, and then you obviously need the planks that go across. That's where that's coming from.
What's
So
the total
2,800 square
distance
feet?
you want to cover?
So the distance we're trying to cover is 400 feet, but that's the amount of lumber when you put the stringers down and you put the cross boards across on it.
So 400 linear feet.
Correct. But you can't order 400 linear feet of lumber and then get a boardwalk out of it, right?
Well, no, but that's how you order. So that's about 800 pieces of wood of the 2x6x8 cedar pieces that we get. So that's 4 times, well, basically 8 times our normal amount and 4 times our amount from last year.
Mm-hmm.
When you're this contact of yours, when they contacted Hope Mill, I wasn't aware they were even still open. But did they say that they could do an order that large? I mean, just
Yeah, so here's what I got. I got a hold of, I'll read it basically right back to you. So I got a hold of Hope Mills. They don't typically run 2x8, so it's going to be easier and cheaper to do everything in 2x6, which is what I think you've done with the existing boardwalk. They charge $1.50 per board foot. An 8-foot length is $12. So total lumber needed would be 2,800 feet of 2x6, costing between $4,200 plus taxes.
Okay, well, so what are our drainage options there in terms of being able to reroute stuff?
As in reroute the trail, or?
No, the rerouting water to make it less muddy or not muddy.
May I ask a question, Mr. Chair?
Yeah. Good, John.
Excuse me, is this, will this do the section from Zion North till we get out of the mud? Is that what we're talking about? Or does this include the section as well on the Grand Trunk Pathway?
Both.
Both. Because I was down, I finally got down to take that branch down on Theater Trail today, and it's excuse me, it's a mess. It was a mess when I walked it last month, and if we keep getting more rain the way everybody else is, I think it's, I tend to agree with John that we might as well do it, or we might as well plan to do it over a period of time, because it's just going to get worse year by year because we're getting more and more traffic down there.
Right, and to add to that, Rob, we're already getting people trying to work around and create new trail because of it as well.
No, I know. Listen, I'm not saying that I'm not saying we don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm not even really playing devil's advocate, but it's a lot of work and it's a lot of money.
Chair
Yeah.
Jackson, I see Meredith Carter has her hand up. I don't know if you can see that in your
I
window
can't.
or
Sorry.
not. No problem.
Sorry to that.
And so does Miss Hurley.
Okay. Go ahead, Miss Hurley.
Meredith, I think you were before me, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
you and I are together no matter what. Just a couple questions. One, I think this deserves a further investigation, a little bit more of a discussion of what we could do here. And that would just be one suggestion, because I'm not sure about water coursing and permitting and, diversion and all that kind of good stuff. But also, if we do any work that John's suggesting, maybe we could pursue some type of grant process or, something to help offset that, or potentially maybe work with a group to help us. Because that is, if we do go down that road and there's options of building a boardwalk again of some sort, or just planking and stuff because of the amount of traffic and that, maybe there's a way that we can get a group to come in and help us with that. So there are different funding and different, whether it's through Fleming, for example, and things like that we've done before years and years ago. So there might be some options, but I was just being cautious when I was hearing about water flow and where the directions were going and things like that. And also concerned about, people like John alluded to, people will find a way to walk around or develop their own trail system, just like water can always find its way. So just a couple suggestions.
Yeah. No. Okay. Appreciate it. Meredith.
Thank you, Yvette. I think you read my mind. I was just thinking that a more detailed discussion would be important to have with some of our regulation staff to talk about what kind of rerouting of water we're talking about and things like that, just to make sure that any permits or approvals are in place prior to any work being undertaken.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, well, I think, I mean, Yvette's correct in the sense that obviously, further discussion, and I don't think anybody was thinking would a decision be made tonight. And this is needs to be added to the list. I think myself, John, and Matthew need to sort of discuss it as part of the larger work plan. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of my thoughts at this point. Anybody else? I take that as a no. Okay. All right, John. So I'll maybe I'll go out this weekend and take a closer look. I mean, right now there's 2 inches of snow on the ground, so whether it's gone by the weekend or not, but obviously we're not going to do anything this year. But as I said, it's something we need to discuss. Anything else you wanted to add on your report?
No, I think that's it. Thanks, Rob.
Okay, thank you. So I walked a number of the trails as well. I did walk Meds, and it's fine. You know that we did a lot of work on it last month at the sort of the mini work day. We added those new sections of boardwalk and the new sort of corner bridge. Everything's in good shape. Dave had a concern leading up to work day about sort of the hill going up to the lookout at the Y intersection being muddy and sort of difficult and sort of some exposed routes there. It's better now. I was on it this weekend. It was quite dry. But yeah, that's something we maybe have to add to the work plan as well. Like I don't even know how to address that, short of stairs or something, but it can get quite muddy at times. Station Trail was good. I noticed a little bit of muddy areas as well, particularly by the old cars. John did. It could use still some gravel in between the old railway beds. That's something we've talked about again, but that's a larger project for a more complete work day, but can be added to the work plan for 2021 as well. Things generally seem to be in fairly good shape. I'm getting a lot of comments and appreciation for the work that we did in October. People really like the new boardwalk, and particularly impressed with the retaining wall that John and his neighbor did on the pathway, the rail trail there. That's getting a lot of good compliments. One thing I did want to pose to the committee, I had a number of people talk to me, well, 2 or 3. Apparently there was something on social media in early November about blue barrels being placed on Meds Mountain Trail. And people were wondering what they were for and were concerned that it was some sort of collection or water pumping and stuff. I wasn't able to go out the day that I got these. Apparently it was on Facebook, a Facebook post on Town Hoopla or Town Talk or whatever it's called on Facebook. Anyway, I've been on Meds many times and I've not seen any site or any sign of blue barrels. I'm thinking what it probably was I know the early childhood center, sometimes quite often I go out and I see things tacked to the trees that say, name a animal that starts with S or something, or, these sort of little things for the kids to do. And I'm wondering if it had something to do with that. And they were just out for a couple hours as part of that. But I've not seen any blue barrels on the trails myself. I don't, anybody have anything to add on that? No. Okay. Yeah. I think it was just a temporary thing, but I guess as things do on social media, it got about a bunch of traction and people were asking these questions about why and how these things were appearing, but I've not seen any posts or anything or heard about any posts since that. And as I say, it was probably 3 weeks ago now. So, okay. I think I just looked up from my computer here before before the meeting started, and all of a sudden there seems to be a bunch of snow on the ground, whereas I was out in the sun earlier today. So I would imagine that most of our maintenance for this year is probably done, unless emergency stuff has to come up. I'll take a look at those, the broken board on Baxter Creek, maybe this weekend, and see what we can do, depending on the amount of snow on the ground. But any other comments on the trail reports, or the general condition of the trails before we move on to general business? No? All right, great. Let's go to 8.1. So work plan 2021. Did you want to add anything more on that, Matthew? We sort of already discussed it a bit here this evening.
No, we'll look forward to having something for the committee to discuss in January.
Great. And if anybody, again, I think the committee thus far, the subcommittee is myself, John Frizzle, and Matthew. But if anybody obviously has any ideas or thoughts or wants to add anything to that, please let one of the three of us or all of us know, and we could certainly add it too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any questions on that before we move on?
Yeah, if I could jump in, I'm just wondering, are these are ongoing discussions? Do we get updates at some point? I'm just wondering about like exploring the alternate entrance to the fairgrounds, and then the one above with John Follis and the DL road allowance connecting to Ganny Transit. Will we just hear about those as there are updates available, or are there any updates to share right now on those two in particular? I'm curious about
Updates with, I'm just not sure what kind of update you're looking for, Dave.
Oh, I assume those are conversations that have started, and I'm just wondering if there's any.
Yeah,
for the rest
no,
of
all we're trying to do with that regard is to to collect the list and then present that discussion, to facilitate that discussion in January with the committee, to sort of say, okay, this is where we're going to go for 2022. And then potentially, that will be an ongoing discussion with the committee. I mean, it might take more than one meeting, but ideally we'll just say, well, this is the forecast. These are the things we can get to for 2022. But we also want to identify some key things for the 2023 and the next iteration of the committee altogether. We'll have something to go on or take forward that we can also sort of say, well, we've crossed off these sorts of things this year. But these are the things we couldn't get to for either COVID or, weather or things permitting, to have a more on record storyline and looking forward as to the things that we're going to tackle and when we're going to get to them, sort of thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about the work plan?
Just in regards to the work plan and trail maintenance, Rob, I think one of the best tools we've seen for any down trees that tend to come down over the spring or the winter especially, Dave and I have both used, is something called, there's a big boy saw, it's called, Dave, the Silky Big Boy. And I was wondering if we could purchase a couple of those, because they go through, logs that are about this big without any need for a chainsaw or anything like that. It's really easy when we're going out doing a trail report or any kind of hike or bike on the trail, to have one of those in a backpack and just clear anything out that's an emergency. So I'm not sure how everybody else feels about it, but the saws that we have right now that are, kind of part of the Millbrook Valley trails are for trail maintenance are not really that user friendly and can clear up some of those things quite easily. So I'd like to be able to see if we could, if everybody agrees, to be able to purchase a couple of extras for the trail committee and keep them in the shed there.
So I know we have one. I don't know that it's a Silky Big Boy, but we do have, I'm just looking at them online. I know we have one like that already. It is maybe not as long as some of these. I can't sort of see, some of these are 14.2 inches. I would say it's probably not that long. It's probably more 9 inches. But
is that the one with the roller, Rob, that rolls in into the sleeve and clips to your belt?
No, it's more of a, I guess looking on here, it would be sort of more of a, what they call a landscaping handsaw as opposed to a big boy folding saw.
Does it fold?
Yeah, it folds. Yeah, it's the same idea. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The ones that I've seen, like I've used the ones that are in the shed, and I actually purchased. I was one of the. I did purchase one of them. I think the Fisker's one. It was, you know, I thought it would do the job at the time, but then once we got it out there, it's not very effective.
Oh, okay.
If you're going out to do one small branch, then yes. But if you're trying to actually clear a tree, then the silky ones are much better, and they do cost twice as much, but you do get what you pay for.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just saying I think we're talking about the same thing in terms of what we already have on hand.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, well, what do people think? We've got money in the budget for the end of the year. But is there any other discussion that's warranted on these? I'm just looking on Amazon, John. Do you have other prices or an idea of price?
I think they're around about what, the 120, 130. Is that right, Dave? I think you probably know better than I would.
I remember seeing that price on Amazon, but I think we found them for between 70 and 90 in the past online. So I'd be optimistic if we could get one for under 100, but who knows how, you know, those things are these days.
So I'm looking right now, and the Silky Professional Series Big Boy, extra large teeth is $114. Medium tooth is $99, and large tooth is $114. And they're all 14.2 inches. And that's on Amazon.ca.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we could set that as an upset limit, and then we could try to find a cheaper one. Oh, sorry, I'm just having a quick Google search for the same thing, and sorry, my computer's so slow to load. But
Well,
CanadianOutdoorEquipment.com sells them for $72.75, but I don't know anything about that website, so I'd, you know.
Would you have to add shipping to that?
Well, you might, but
If we used an upset limit of whatever, 130 or something per saw, Rob, and
Well, if you want to make the motion, that's when I.
sure, I'll make a motion to purchase 2 saws for an upset limit of say $260.
Okay. Cindy, do we need any more information than that?
You just need a seconder, and does it matter the blade size? You had said 14.2 inches, I think, Chair Jackson, but it doesn't matter for the content of the motion. That's entirely up to you guys. I'm not sure. I know some motions you guys like pretty specific, so it's entirely up to you.
I think the model number Silky Big Boy, I think only comes in that blade length. So that should be sufficient.
Okay. Can I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Dave? Okay.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you
John.
go, do you go for the big teeth or the little teeth, or one of each?
I remember looking into it a while ago, and the big teeth. I think you go for the big teeth. Like we're just trying to get through something as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Usually a dead thing on the ground. So I think the smaller teeth are better for maybe pruning cuts. Yeah, I don't know the exact details, but I think the big teeth.
Thank you.
Just a suggestion, Chair Jackson. I don't know if there's any way you can do research, but listening to what you had already said, David, about acquiring another product that you thought might work and it didn't do what you needed on, you know, when you got out to the trails, maybe if there's any way you can double check what it is you guys want, so you don't end up, you know, unfortunately with another piece of equipment that doesn't do what you thought it was going to do. That's sitting on the sidelines. That's my suggestion.
That's a great point, Cindy, and that's exactly why I brought it up, because I've been out doing trail maintenance and I got a chance to use one of those saws, and it was remarkable compared to what else we have. So, yeah.
Okay. So the motion at hand, can I have a show of hands of all in favor? So we've got John, Dave, John, and Matthew. Like, that's enough to pass. Okay. So you guys will look into that. If you want, I don't know, if you want them bought from Amazon, I've got a Prime membership, so it's free shipping, but I assume maybe you do too. So anyway, let me know if I can help in any way.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay. 8.3, proposed meeting dates and trail reports assignments for 2022. I think what we did last year, Cindy, was just sort of copied this year. We can do that again. I don't know if you've got it up there that you can.
Just through you, Chair Jackson, do we just want to quickly touch base on the update of the brochures under 8.2?
Oh, I'm sorry, did I missed that. Yes, I'm sorry. 8.2, updated Millbrook Valley Trails brochure. So we talked about this last meeting. I've worked with Vistaprint to make the changes, and they are being printed as we speak, I believe. I've just got it. As I said, I've been out of the country for the last week or so, but we should have those in hand in the next week or two, I would assume.
Rob, has
Great.
the township been provided the PDFs to update the website?
Yeah,
Words out of my mouth.
yeah, I can send that along.
Please. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on that?
Through you, Chair Jackson, I don't know if you see, but Mr. Bushell has just joined us.
Yeah. Hi, Alex.
Hey guys, sorry, I'm here now.
No problem.
Been one of those days.
Okay. 8.3, proposed meeting dates and trail report assignments for 2022. Cindy, do you have that up on screen? Thank you. Is this just a copy from last year?
Yes, it is. The only thing we changed was the meeting for October, being that will actually be the night of the election, the 24th. I just thought it'd be best if we pushed it out till the 31st. So you can still have your final meeting, but respectfully, the night of the election, we won't be available. So other than that, this is as you had it before. We do need to confirm your TBDs. That was Christine Ball. So, and then your Craig prior to that. So we just have to make sure we have people appointed for trails.
Okay, so there's no November date on that. And my first comment would be those of us with young kids probably wouldn't want to have a meeting on October 31st either.
So the November meeting, your seat concludes on November 15th in this term.
Right.
So that following date would be the 21st. So we can play with that October date as long as it's before. So we could do November 7th potentially if you wanted, or maybe not a Monday. I'm not too sure. So I never even thought about Halloween. I apologize. You're absolutely right. Never even thought about that. So yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
Whatever
Yeah. Well,
the committee decides.
let's tackle that one first. So instead of the October 31st meeting, what would people prefer?
How about the first?
Yeah, fine with me.
Otherwise, move it to the following week, the first week of November,
Which would be November 7th.
November 7th,
Yeah.
which is okay still, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we need a motion for this, or can we
Yes,
just?
we will need a motion to approve and accept your meeting dates for 2022. And then whatever those dates are, that's what I will have added to the minutes and circulated to the committee.
Okay, so does somebody want to make a motion for either the 1st or the 7th of November?
I think to be consistent with your schedules, if you guys are comfortable, the Monday would probably make your lives easier if you stuck with a Monday night, if that works.
Okay,
With
so
your
I can make the motion.
Definitely, yeah.
Change the October 31st, 2022 date to November 7th at 5 p.m. Can I have a seconder for that? Dave, wonderful. All in favor? Yeah. Okay, great.
So through you, Chair Jackson, we can do this as one motion. So if we just want to add the names also for your TBDs, we'll just do this as one motion though.
Well, the TBDs, I guess we need to take a step back. We're still advertising for a new committee member, correct?
That's correct, yes. Do you want to fill these in with vacant or current members though? Because I remember the last time we had a new member, you didn't want the member to go by themselves. You wanted to have like a team. And so being that this is January and the first meeting, I think we should definitely appoint somebody for your January 24th meeting. If you want to wait for your May meeting till the new members appointed, that's fine. So yes, the applications are being accepted until December 4th, I believe. I can confirm that date for you to fill the vacancy.
Right. Okay. Well, why don't we move? From September 26th? John, oh, hang on. John Frizzle, do you mind doing it again in January? You just did it.
Yeah, that's no problem, Rob.
No problem. Okay. So can we move Hillary from April 25th to January 24th? And then by that time, the TBD, we can move the TBD in Hillary's place on April 25th. And by that time, they'll be sort of in and sorted, and we can do they'll be able to do a report by then.
Perfect.
Is that okay?
That
So-
works for me, Chair Jackson. I do see you have a couple hands up with David and John,
I'm
but that
sorry,
does work.
I can't see everybody.
No
Okay.
problem. I'll just say them when I see the hands pop up.
Dave, go ahead.
John Falls, you were ahead of me. Did you accidentally?
No,
have your hand?
I think that was an accidental from the last vote.
Okay. I was just going to say, if it makes it easier, you can just put me in for all the TBDs, and then I can trade those out later or just do them if it makes life easier. Whatever month it is, it's fine. I'll be out there anyway. So
Yeah, why don't we just do as suggested? So just move Hillary to January 24th, and then it could be TBD. Well, actually, then that's two in a row. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's just put Dave in then, in the TBD, and then we can sort it out in the January meeting, because we'll know who that person is by then, right?
Ideally.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I apologize, I'm getting my committees messed up because there's another vacancy. Your committee is actually I'm taking a report to council on December 6th.
December 6th. Okay. All right. So it'll be John and Dave in January. You guys good with that?
Yep.
Okay. And that'll be included in the minutes. Yes, Cindy?
Yes, and I will also circulate it to the committee at the conclusion of the meeting as well.
Okay. Any other questions around trail report assignments? No? Okay. 8.4 Millbrook MTB. Is that Dave and or John?
I just wanted to give everyone an update. This was our first year operating as John and I and others operating as a mountain bike club here in Millbrook. And we weren't sure how the year was going to go, and it was quite successful. And so I just wanted to, share a few points and a few numbers just to help everyone understand what we're doing and how it's going, and maybe what next year will look like. So I just have a few slides, nothing too serious, but I do this so infrequently. Okay, PowerPoint. See if I can share this. And is that good? Everyone can see that? I don't know if I
Yep.
It works.
lost it now. Okay. Yeah, sorry. It's all right. So Millbrook MTB. MTB is just like a short form for mountain bike. So anyway, Millbrook MTB is our club name, Millbrook Mountain Bike Club. So this was, like I said, it was our first year. We incorporated as a not-for-profit around this time last year. So it's been a full year now. We've had our first annual general meeting, and we have a board of directors and everything. So trying to do it all properly, and ask for permission for everything as we can, and help out as we can, and raise money and give back to the community as we're able to. So so for our first year, we ended up with 172 members, which greatly exceeded our expectations of maybe 50 to 75. So we're really happy with that. These are the demographics of the people. I mean, don't have male versus female, but the age group. We do sell individual memberships or family memberships, and they're pretty cheap, just 25 bucks for a member. And really it's just to cover insurance and operating costs. And then if we have a little left over, it helps us buy tools, or if we need to buy materials or signs, then we have money for that. But it is a not-for-profit, so we're not trying to make money here. Yeah, so this is how things, we have almost 40 members who are under the age of 18, and that's thanks to mostly people signing up their families. Not too many really young adults, and then we get into the 30s and 40s, and we've got sort of our biggest numbers there. But then well, like right up to I know there are mountain bikers out there that are 65 plus. It looks like we only have maybe 1 or 2 as a member, but we've got a pretty good spread here. So it's yeah, it was great to see. So the highlights of the year. So we did group rides, so organized group rides every week from June until the end of September. So that was 17 weeks, and that started during COVID when we were only allowed gatherings of 5 people. So we had our first group ride was only 5 people, and then we were typically maybe 15 or so on average. And so that's a dedicated women's ride we had on Wednesday nights, and just a co-ed ride on Tuesday nights. All summer long, those seem to really enjoy those. We also offered 3 different skills clinics throughout the year. So the group rides are on our trails, mostly M&R property, going out on Gani Transit and sometimes in the Ganaraska, depending if everyone had passes or not. The skills clinics were held on township property. Oh, sorry, I got a little. Sorry, Burke, 1 sec. Timing's amazing. So the 3 skills clinics were just, various mountain bike skills. So those were hosted. One was at the library, and one was actually 2 were at the library, and 1 was at the new community center. And so I see Carly's on the call. So Carly helped me get those dates organized, and those went quite well. We also had a couple professional coaches come in for 3 different workshops to help people build their mountain bike skills. And then through, as a club and having insurance, we were able to get some, talk to the M&R about doing some trail work out there, and got some of the unofficial trails kind of tidied up and, I guess legitimized in our minds, so that they're, safe and fun for everyone to use, and complement the Millbrook Valley Trails network pretty well. So yeah, those are the key highlights. Definitely new friendships, new contacts, building our local mountain bike community. The 172 members, like I said, was just greatly exceeded our expectations. So it was fantastic. Financially, we did well enough to, pay for the legal bills associated with incorporating and pay our insurance bills. And we still had money left over to buy signage in a few locations. Some trail tools. Actually, one of those saws that John got to use was purchased through the club, and then we even bought a leaf blower as well. So we've got, between us and the Millbrook Valley Trails, we've got 2 leaf blowers that we can use, which at least for John and myself helps distribute the work nicely, so we're not competing to use the same tools, especially sort of over the past month. And through all that, we still had about $1,000 left over. And so in our minds, that's, that's money in the bank for future stuff as it comes up, but it's also meant to go back into the trails as needed. So if there's more signage to buy, or more tools, or more wood, or if we get into spraying and we want to contribute to some of the costs of the Millbrook Valley Trails maintenance. And since that benefits us, if we can, come in to help with a wood order or something like that, then it's nice that we have that money, so we can chip in and give back in that way. So those were the key highlights from a year. It was a busy year. Like for our first year, I think we did pretty well, and so we're all pretty happy about that. And so going into next year, we kind of want to do the same thing and just hope that it's less stressful and fewer hiccups along the way. But so we want to keep running group rides. We're permitted to do so, and the clinics as well. So I guess as long as the committee doesn't have any objection, we'd want to keep using the trails on the M&R property as well as Ganney Transit as a club. And I don't know if we formally asked for permission to do that. I sort of had a brief conversation through email with a vet, but then when I looked back on it, I realized that I didn't I maybe didn't wait for the formal response or didn't ask for a formal response. But I guess if there was any issue that the committee saw with us sort of running group rides on the maybe one evening a week or 2 evenings a week on the trails, then I hope that that could be brought forward now. And then otherwise, you know, that's sort of the plan. We'll continue doing rides out there and just bringing people together. As far as I guess it's now, what is it, Northern Development, Ministry of Northern Development and Mining, Natural Resources and Forestry. So I still want to just say the M&R because it's easier than ND, M&RF. But we're now that it sounds like the Millbrook Valley Trails is finalizing and the township is finalizing their land use agreement with the NDM and RF, we'll be now ready to pursue our own. And so we'll be looking to add a couple of new trails out on that property if we're permitted to do so. And those will be trails that we've brought up at this committee in the past that we've named sort of the beginner trails, beginner mountain bike trails. So something more oriented as a flatter kids loop and something that is more of what we think of as a beginner climbing trail. So helping people get up the steep Meadow Trail hill without having to go straight up or walk their bike. So we'll be talking with the NDM and RF about that. And that's going to be a big one for next year if we can get through that agreement. And then continuing to support the Millbrook Valley Trails. So in our minds, that's, you know, John and I do a fair bit of maintenance on the trails. And, you know, as committee members, we're able to feel comfortable working on some of the Millbrook Valley Trails, but then we're also able to work on some of the other stuff as well. And but we want to be able to bring volunteers from the club to help out on Millbrook Valley Trails projects as well as our own, because we do have, you know, people with carpentry experience and people with trail building experience, and they are great resources to have when it comes time to do trail work, because so much of the work we have to do is just, you know, it's volunteer time, and many hands make light work. So that's my spiel. I just wanted to, let everyone know that just what we're up to, and that it's been a successful year, and we hope that next year will be just as successful, if not more. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Dave. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that?
Just through you, Chair Jackson, if we can get a formal copy of that motion or of that presentation, and we'll just need a motion to add it to the docket, to the agenda. I didn't know it was a formal presentation that you were actually providing, David, so we'll have to make sure we put that on as part of the agenda package.
Sure.
So we'll need just a motion to add that additional material.
I'll move we receive the presentation.
Okay, great. Do we need a
And then
second?
just a seconder, yep.
I
Matthew?
can second it with a comment.
Okay, Matthew?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, David and John and everyone involved, that's, you know, it's a great work, and obviously in a tough year, you know, I think it speaks volumes to the amount of passion and effort and work that you guys put into it. So congratulations, I think, are definitely in order. And I think the offer of support, whether it's fiscal or from volunteerism or just the general works that you guys do already as members of the Millbrook Valley Trails, it's very much appreciated by the community. So I just wanted to say thanks and great work and congratulations.
Thank you, Matthew.
Absolutely, yeah. I have a question. Just, is there any more news on the pump track?
No, nothing to share there. The next step for us is to come up with a plan that we can take as a delegation to council. And we're just having trouble getting the plan together at this point. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, any other, oh, sorry, I guess we need to vote on that motion. So accepting the presentation, all in favor? Yep, great. Okay. Any other questions around Millbrook MTB? No, all right, then let's move on to our final item. Items for the next meeting. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to talk about at our January 24th meeting? Okay, if not, certainly feel free to add to email myself or Cindy, Matt, and we can make sure that it gets on the agenda for January 24th.
May I ask a question before you call for an adjournment, please?
Absolutely.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Yvette, you said Melissa wasn't going to be working with us for a while. Will I be working with you then? Will we be talking about the extension of the Gani Transit in the near future, or is that just going to be after January?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, Melissa is no longer going to be taking part on the committee. So I've had to do we're going to have to do some shuffling with her responsibility and some staffing issues that we're having. So John, the good news is, yes, you get to work with me again.
I'll look forward to that. That just didn't come out of the blue, by the way. When I brought up that motion last time, there was reference to that linkage to the Oak Ridges Trail when we started doing the Gani Transit. And I think the reason it didn't go the rest of the way was probably just because we were having the issue with funding the surveying. And
I remember.
And but now that I walk that trail, I come in from Ganaraska, I'm pretty sure that it is coming in on the DL unopened road allowance. And actually Dave has some pictures of survey stakes out there. So I don't think it's, anyway, I don't think it's as surprising an issue as it may have been taken to have been when I brought it up at the last meeting. So you can sleep without worry tonight about that one.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to John. I sort of remember, John, you and I having conversations about that a long time ago when we were doing checking and doing some surveying. So yeah, so I'm not surprised for my point of view, but we can certainly meet and, you know, have a conversation about that for sure.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, any other questions or comments before I call for an adjournment? No, okay. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Seconded by John Frizzle. All in favor? All right, well, thank you everybody for another successful year. I know we'll be in touch before the end of the year anyway, I'm sure, but I want to thank you as chair for all of your hard work and dedication throughout this another quite difficult year. Hopefully 2022 will bring more opportunities to get together in person and larger work teams and work days, etc. But thank you all very much. Myself and the community greatly appreciate your efforts, and we're all better off for it. So if I don't speak to you directly, have a safe, happy holiday, Merry Christmas, and we will see you in the new year.
Thanks to all.
Thanks, Rob. You too.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.